Hello everybody and welcome to the latest away days preview. Rovers heading to Bolton Wanderers in Sky Bet League One on Tuesday night. Joining me to look ahead to that one, Rovers defender Branden Horton and editor of the Doncaster Free Press, Liam Hoden. Liam, Rovers unbeaten in 4-0 competitions, one defeat in 7. They're proving to be harder to beat nowadays. It's just about turning, I suppose, draws into wins on a more frequent basis.
That's it. Richie Wellens spoke plenty of times about going back to basics and doing the basic things right. Part of that is making yourself nice and solid and difficult to beat. We've seen that over the last few weeks. We certainly saw that at the weekend with the effort that went in to sort of staying stable in that draw against Lincoln. As you say, now it's about putting points on the board and hopefully a few wins.
Branden, of course, you've started the last couple in League and Cup after, I suppose, a little bit of a breakthrough for you against Scunthorpe in the FA Cup when you came off the bench and put in a really good performance there. To be handed a start against Lincoln at the weekend, how much did that do for your confidence?
Yeah. A lot for my confidence. Obviously, played well against Scunny both games, so I hoped that I earned my chance to get in and play a league game, which I did. And I thought we'd done well as a team, and I thought individually I'd done well as well. So,
of course, you've had to bide your time this season. You had a couple of substitute appearances at the start of the campaign, then you've had a little bit more time out of the team. What has that spell done for you in terms of watching on from afar and learning about what you need to do to get yourself to that level?
Yeah, I think obviously from coming from last season as well, getting the starts in last season, I think obviously going out of the team, sitting on the bench, just gave me the urge to drive myself on and get back into the team and hope I got my chance again and then to take it again, which I thought I've done well. So hopefully I can push on now, keep going.
Liam, Richie's spoken a lot about, even if you're not winning games, being able to put points on the board and keep it ticking over, just adding to the tally on a consistent basis. Rovers have got 2 away games now in the space of 4 days where Bolton aren't in the best run of form. Neither are Burton Albion, who they face on Saturday. If they can get a few more in the next few days, they'll really close the gap on the teams above.
It's important. We know the home form's been pretty good. You know, that's where the points have come this season. Just that one away from home. It's important if you're doing all right at home, you back that up with steady form away from home. That is picking up the odd point here and there, but throwing a few wins in as well. There's a couple of games. These 2 games coming up. They're big opportunities to go out and get that first away win. We know Bolton, as you said, they're having a bit of a tough time at a minute. They're having their own injury problems as well. It's probably a good time to visit them.
Yeah, 1 win in 6 for them. They're still 13th in the table, pretty much as mid-table as you can get at this stage of the season. 9 points off the playoffs, 7 points above the relegation zone. From the outside looking in, obviously we all know about Rovers' injury problems this season, but they do look like a team potentially who are slightly vulnerable.
They really do. I think the form has just shown it's very, as you say, mid-table. That's where the form is. They look pretty good one week, and then the next week, you know, they're blown apart quite simply, really. So it's very much a mid-table side, vulnerable, and yeah, you can go out there and hopefully, as Richie Wellens has touched on, they're quite open. You know, they like to attack. There's an opportunity for Rovers to pick a few holes in them on Tuesday night and hopefully get that win.
Branden, we heard from John Taylor on Monday in the press conference, and he spoke about not quite being 100% fit just yet, but we saw on Saturday, didn't we, just how much he can give you, making those runs in behind, an outlet wherever you are, even for you at left back. You know the switch of play is always on because he's making that run in behind.
Yeah, I think obviously we've missed Tails quite a lot in the past few weeks since he's been out, and he's very quick, so we need that going in behind, and we haven't had that since he's been out. So him coming back in, we've got like an out ball to him, give him the ball, and hopefully he can come in now and show what he can do.
Do you feel that can make a difference, especially in away games? Because we saw on Saturday, Lincoln sort of sat in and were happy to let Rovers have the ball at times. On Tuesday night, you imagine Bolton, in front of their home fans, are going to want to take the initiative, get on the ball early. But if Rovers have got space on the counter-attack, what they haven't probably had so far this season is a John Taylor to get in behind.
Yeah, hopefully tomorrow night Bolton do come at us, and hopefully we can get the ball out and counter-attack them. And yeah, Tails is the perfect man to run in behind for us because he's probably our fastest player, so it's good to have him back.
Liam, we didn't see too much of him at the weekend, but we saw flashes, didn't we? The one that stands out was the one in the second half when he looked to knock it past Adam Jackson, and the Lincoln defender had no sort of other thing he could do but take him out, which shows. And if anyone was doubting that bit of pace was still there with John Taylor, he certainly showed them that he's still got that electrifying ability.
Yeah. I mean, you probably wouldn't have necessarily fancied. He had so much ground that he was going to have to make up to get to that ball, but he clearly were going to get there. And Adam Jackson knew full well that he had to act. He's got that. And we saw there were one in the first half that Ethan Galbraith played a lovely curling ball out wide, looking to release him a little bit too much on it, and John Taylor couldn't quite get there. But just that, something from nothing, that flash from absolute nothing, whether it's himself taking it on and looking to get past his man or releasing him down that, it can be such an effective weapon for Rovers.
Branden, Richie Wellens talked about Bolton as a club being much bigger than where they've been, particularly in the last couple of years. Of course, way back when, a Premier League, established Premier League club, they've obviously done it tough for the last few years. But as a young player, going to a ground like that, how much can that do for you in developing and playing in front of such a big crowd?
Yeah, it's obviously massive for the young lads, not even just me, even the ones that have come in on the bench, because it is such a big stadium and it's got a lot of history behind it. So to go and play at them sort of places like Chef Wednesdays as well, for instance, obviously I come on there, and it is massive for my confidence and experience as well.
Of course, you're there for a reason. You're there to play in there because the manager trusts you. There might be some nerves for the young lads going into it, but you just sort of have to push your chest out and get on with it and take it as it comes.
I think nerves obviously are a big part of football, whereas I get them before every game anyway. So it's just sort of, I think once you get the first touch in the game, they sort of like they start fading away after a bit. Hopefully it's good, so then you sort of then push on from that. But I think nerves before a game is probably the biggest thing for me. I think it pushes me to play better.
Liam, there's a couple of, I suppose, one big decision for the manager is who plays in goal. Pontus Dahlberg, it seems, back available after a clean sheet for Lewis Jones at the weekend. Matt Smith, you would think, will come back in after being suspended on Saturday for John Bostock, who'll miss out. But it is, I suppose, that the only real point he's got to make is who plays in goal, because every other position pretty much picks itself given the number of injuries he's got.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really tough decision after Lewis Jones's performance at the weekend. Really, really good. Look, he spoke a lot after the game about what he's looked to develop this season while he's been waiting for his chance, and I think we saw a lot of that. His confidence, whether that's in coming for the ball, in distribution as well. I thought he were really, really good, and he's certainly given Richie Wellens something to think about. If Lewis doesn't start, it'll be quite harsh on him given that performance. But we always have got, as they've shown, two very good options in that position. And I don't really envy Richie's selection at that point.
Yeah, we know about, as I said, Rovers' injury problems. Ian Evatt in the opposition dugout has got similar issues himself. A whole host of senior players out, added to by the injuries to Williams and former Rovers man in Alex Baptiste at the weekend. One man who could be back is Owen Doyle, a man who Richie knows very well and a big goal threat, as I'm sure Richie will be getting into all the defenders to keep a keen eye on him.
He certainly will. A player who were kind of rejuvenated under Richie Wellens in that loan spell at Swindon. Did so well there and kind of reignited his career. Yeah, very dangerous when he's on it. And I'm sure Richie will be drilling the defenders in how to deal with him. There
is a slight rivalry that's been built up over the past couple of years, isn't there? It would be unfair to go through the show without mentioning that. Of course, the postponed fixture a couple of seasons ago. Does that just add to this? Do you feel for both sets of fans, and particularly on social media, as you know well, it's not quite died off just yet, has it?
No, I do get Bolton fans popping up now and again reminding me of things that I've written about that particular incident. It something. It would be not just another game, but it'd just be a fixture that comes around. This has obviously added a little bit to it. There'll be a little bit a needle, particularly on social media. They both like to have a go. I've seen a couple of things today with various fans about the injury crises at both clubs and asking whether it should be postponed. But yeah, it'd be interesting. Obviously, this is the first time that Rovers will have been since they should have gone on that Tuesday night a couple of years ago. So be interested. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, not too many Bolton fans recognise me walking to the ground.
Yeah, hoping to sneak in. Branden, obviously, going there on Tuesday night on the back of a well-earned point at the weekend. I think Rovers ended the game against Lincoln really well. You think if Joe Dodu's header ends up in the back of the net, that sort of springboard it can give you is massive, isn't it? But I suppose you can take momentum anyway from the way that you ended the game.
Yeah, I think obviously we can take momentum from it. We've got a point, whereas at the minute we're just trying to get the points up to get out of the relegation zone, really, to get up the table. So I think getting that point on the weekend, we'll take it into tomorrow's game and hopefully we can come away with 3 points.
Of course, I mentioned Joe Dodu there, and it came from Kyle Noyle's cross, didn't it? A brilliant delivery from the right-hand side. When you've got a focal point up there and somebody you can aim for, as a fullback, I suppose once you've got a half a yard of space, your first thought is to whip that ball in and give him an opportunity to get on the end of it. Yeah,
of course. Obviously, Joe's always telling us as well in training and stuff. Once we get a ball at our feet to put it in the box, obviously as a striker, he wants to score goals. He wants to be in there at all times, and he wants good deliveries into him, which hopefully me and Kyle Noyle can do. And as you can see, Noyle obviously put a good ball in, put it on his head, and he is a good goal threat for us. So hopefully we can make use of that more and get some goals.
Yeah, Liam, just finally, I know Richie Wellens has spoken about keeping Joe Dodu up top, down the middle. He's got 5 goals so far this season, and then he's sort of been the guy who's had to move out of position and fill in elsewhere, hasn't he? But we saw on Saturday he almost created a couple of goals as well, with getting into good areas in that left channel. But his strongest position is certainly down the middle.
It certainly is. I think we saw with his couple of goals against Scunny in the Papa John's what he can do. You know, a couple of driving runs for them and really good finishes. Just go back keeping him in that middle area. You know, he can be relied on to move out wide, and he's capable of doing that. But I think his big impact for Rovers will come down the middle, and hopefully we can see a few more goals from him.
Yeah, Dodu down the middle, Taylor on the right, hopefully supplying some of the balls in. How do you see it going then? Where do you see the game being won and lost on Tuesday night?
I think Rovers, for me, have got to counter well, and we've seen them do that this season. I thought at Crewe, particularly in that second half, the counter-attacking play were good, and launching forward quickly. Hopefully they can do that again. I think that'll be a big thing. And a bit of control in the middle of the park as well. That's always been. But more of the same in terms of this, being hard to beat. This, the composure that was shown at the weekend was really good. So more of that. I think Rovers can go and get a result. I really do. And I would say I'm going to say Rovers win. I know 2-1's my prediction, but I do fancy it on this one.